Thanks for waking up with Doug and Wolf this morning here on Sports 620 KTAR. We're also joined by Paul Calvisi, sideline reporter for the Arizona Cardinals, who's giving me pointers as a sideline guy after watching ASU fumble at the 2-yard line right in front of me on Saturday, and there's nothing I could do about it. And I thought of Paul, because, Paul, you should have given me lessons on the angst of that moment.
So when the ball came your way, did you fall on it, or did you try and pick it up and return it? Because always secure the ball first, Doug.
I did absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
I just choked under the pressure.
I see.
To be quite honest. Head coach Ken Whisenhunt always joins us Monday mornings at 7:30. Good morning, Coach. How do you feel after your range of emotions yesterday?
Well, I guess that's the best way to say it. I don't know how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm obviously very happy that we got the win. And, you take as many of those as you can get. I don't know if I can handle 13 more of them, but I'd like to try and see.
Let's face it, you're not going for BCS votes, so it doesn't matter whether you win pretty or not. So does an NFL coach care about how pretty a win is, or whether the term win ugly? Do you care about that at all?
No. The only thing I care about is that we're 2-1, which is better than we were last year. We're a work in progress, like I said yesterday after the game. The fact that we won 2 of the games while we're working some things out, I think it speaks a lot about our guys and our work ethic of our players, and I think it's going to put us in good stead later in the season, and that's exciting to me.
Was there anything from that game against the Raiders yesterday that you can extrapolate, you can pull from it and say, you know what, this might be our identity on offense? Well,
I don't. The one thing I'll say is we had, I think, 26 pass attempts and 26 rushes. So maybe for the first time ever, we were 50-50. And I think that showed up in the second half when we were able to throw some of the play actions on that one drive for the touchdown. That's what you want to do. So, if that's going to be our identity, then I'm okay with that. I think if we hadn't have put the ball on the ground on those punts that gave them the ball, I think it's a different ball game, because it changes the momentum for our defense because they'd gotten off the field, and it helps us offensively because I think we'll be able to get 2 more possessions. So there's a lot of positive things. I think the thing we got to do is we got to look at it. We got to go into it and correct it and work on it like we did last week in practice, and we'll be a better team this week.
Coach, do you think it's important that you do have an identity offensively?
Well, yeah, I'd like to find out what it is right now instead of 3-4 weeks into the season. But
right.
You know what? Our identity is going to be what our players do best, what our quarterback does best, what our line does best, what our receivers do best. I think that we're so talented at a receiver position, and I know that hasn't really shown up yet as far as the pass game, that we've got to keep an eye to making sure we get the ball in Fitz's hands. We got to take some shots. We had some yesterday, and we didn't connect. We didn't, whether the protection broke down or those situations. But if we can run the football like we've run the first 3 games, and I know we're not the greatest running team out there, but we're much better than we've been in the previous years. If we can run the football, it's going to help us in all areas, which is going to, as we're in this transition phase, that's what we need.
And, last week we were talking about it's impossible to know the absolute identity of the offense until Beanie Wells returns. That's sort of the final piece. And is it me, or down on the sideline, it just seems to come alive when he's smash-caking guys and rolling over guys and the defense comes off the bench? It just seems like a different vibe when he's rolling.
Well, it felt good yesterday a couple of times. It felt for the first time like we were rolling, like we were in a groove. We were hitting some runs, we were hitting some passes. Part of that is because of Beanie. I mean, there's no question when the big guy gets rolling, it's a different feel. We feel it, the opposing team feels it, and it gives you just kind of the confidence that and I'm not taking anything away from Tim. Tim's a good back, but it gives you a different kind of confidence, and it's good to have Beanie back, and, I'm excited to see how we continue to progress with this.
Obviously, Tim's stepping up because he wore a tie in the locker room yesterday. He's trying to keep up with Beanie's dress, so we know it's affecting something.
Yeah, I don't know what that Beanie was wearing in the locker room yesterday. That was, at the end of a game like that, to then have to see Beanie dressed the way he was tough.
What is, you mentioned the Derek Anderson, Larry Fitzgerald chemistry. How does that develop when Larry's had so limited during the preseason, Derek's new to the organization, and once they get on the same page, it's going to be a great connection. But what's a fair, reasonable amount of time to be patient with something like that?
If we knew that, we'd have it accelerated so we weren't having to wait on it. I think that, I think that's maybe a little bit overblown. Larry's a good football player. Mm-hmm. Derek is just got to put the ball in his area, and Larry's going to come down with it. Yesterday Larry was grabbed quite a bit on the very first play. that Derek tried to throw it to him down the sideline. The guy grabs him when we get a penalty. I think a lot of things were lost yesterday. As we had probably 150 yards in interference penalties, and that doesn't go into your offensive stats. It does contribute to you moving the football, but Larry doesn't get a catch, so you don't get the feeling, okay, Larry made a big play down the field. But yet it's kind of a double-edged sword because we are moving the football. So I think we're just going to continue to work. We're going to have, I think, some ups and some downs, but I see us starting to turn the corner a little bit, and I'm looking forward to us having more ups than struggles.
What is the best thing that Derek Anderson did yesterday? When you looked at the film and you put it within the context, of course, of the offense and how you guys were operating, what is the best thing that he did?
Well, I think he was better at running our offense. We still missed a number of passes, and we got to continue to improve with that. But I think in the second half he responded. Didn't have a great first half. In the second half he responded. The thing that I was really impressed with yesterday is he had 2 throws down there in the red zone for touchdowns that were very big throws, good throws. He moved in the pocket on the one to Steve. The second one to Larry, he stuck his foot in the ground on a timing throw and stuck it in there. To me, that was signs that, okay, now he's starting to get comfortable with what we're trying to do with some of those things. And if that can permeate itself into other areas, then we're going to be okay.
This time last week, Kerry Rhodes was talking about the Atlanta loss, and he said something. He said, look, it's an aberration if you make it that way. And then the defense had a players-only meeting. Did you like the way they responded to Atlanta overall?
It's really tough to judge our defense yesterday because I think we gave up 360 yards, something like that. And it's really not a fair assessment because probably one of the hardest things for a defense to do is when you've stopped an opponent, you've gotten a 3-er out, they punt, and then all of a sudden the ball touches one of our guys and they get the ball back down at the 30-yard line, and they got to go back on the field and respond. That's tough, not only from a mental capacity but physically, because you get worn down. That happened to them twice, and both times they responded and kept them to kicking a field goal. The other time was when they had it 1st and goal, obviously at the 1-yard line, and to be able to respond to that. So I don't think we got a true indication of what our defense, how it responded because of those 2 plays. But, on the other hand, I do like the way our guys responded because there was no quit in them. They fought yesterday. It was a battle. They had opportunities to make plays. And the thing that I like, and it's a stat that nobody sees, is how many times yesterday did we get our hands on the ball and not come away with it? Rashard Johnson had. Kerry Rhodes had. Joey Porter almost had an interception.
Michael Adams
almost had one. That to me is a good sign because we're close. And then, Joey got a strip sack one time and we didn't get the ball back. And, there's a lot of those things that when you see plays being made that close, if that can continue, that's a great sign that we rebounded from last week, and hopefully we can continue with that.
Did you have a chance to call Todd Haley and say thanks for the beatdown on a division opponent?
I'm happy for Todd. That's a significant thing for him and for his team to be 3-0, and it's definitely a bonus for us that they got the win over San Francisco.
Were you surprised at all, Wiz? I know that you've seen the highlights as well. I'm sure you've watched the highlights and seen some of the stats that are up there. But Frank Gore, 15 carries for 43 yards, and the fact that the Chiefs ran for over 200 yards against that front 7. I was shocked, frankly. I was shocked when I saw the numbers on that. Were you surprised they were dominated the way that they were along the line of scrimmage?
To be honest with you, Wolf, I really didn't pay that much attention to it. When we get our chance to play San Francisco here in a few weeks down the road, then we'll worry about it at that point.
You got your own problems, is that what you're saying?
But that doesn't, I'm glad that obviously that Kansas City got the win, and because it helps us. But I didn't really pay that much attention to it. I'm more worried about making sure that we don't get the ball to touch us when we're trying to punt return and turn the ball over, or that we can be better on 3rd down. And I'm not trying to bust on you, Wolf. It's tough after a game like yesterday. There's so many things you got to think about.
Paul, I told you I shouldn't have asked that question.
Yeah, you can leave it to us to bust on Wolf, Coach. We take care of that over there. I will say, what I noticed was on KTAR.com about an hour ago, there was a Cardinals story, your picture, and right underneath it, a big ad, a big public service message that read, "How heart attacks can be prevented." And I said, oh, my God. Because I think a lot of fans are wondering, all right, going forward this season, do I eat my chips, my beverage, and then some Maalox? Do you think that's the way this season is going to go, at least into the near future?
Well, as long as we can come out with the wins, it makes it a lot easier. But I don't know. I don't know. I tell you what, I hate to keep to me, everything in this league is cyclical. It seems like things continue to happen that they've happened in the past. And I go back to the '05 season when I was with Pittsburgh. Actually, it was the '04 season, and we played a tough game in Miami against an opponent that had a lot of weapons in it. There was a lot of distractions. There was a lot of stuff going on. We'd just gotten beaten the week before by Baltimore pretty badly. We started Ben Roethlisberger, who was a rookie in the game. And, we didn't play great, but we found a way to win the game. It was an ugly win, just like this. And those things build character with your team. They build credibility as far as the chemistry goes. And you understand that, look, we've played 2 games now where we haven't played our best, and we were able to win those games. And that's important. Washington went into St. Louis yesterday and got spanked. Yeah. So that was not an easy place to play. And we went in there and we didn't play our best and we won the game. So there's a lot of things that I think you got to look at from a detached perspective. Do we need to improve in a lot of areas? Yes. Do I see signs that we're starting to get this puzzle, put it together, fit the pieces together? Absolutely, I do. And I'm excited to get back to work this week and face San Diego next week there, because I think that what we learned from last week was we were able to rebound from a horrible loss where we were embarrassed. We were able to focus and play better this week, and I think it sets the table for us to continue to improve, to look at ourselves in a critical nature and understand what we have to do to improve. And, that to me is a good sign that we can become a really good football team.
Cardinals fans would like to ask a favor of you, Coach, and that is win somebody a house every game. All you have to do is run kickoffs back at the opening of the game for people to win a house. I read a quote from the Dave Johnson, the gentleman from Surprise Who Won, who said he was watching the game and saw it open up in front of him for Stephen Talent. I can't imagine the feeling of sitting there watching a special teams unit win you a house. And it's already an exciting play unto itself, but then to start a game like that and then give away a house. Nice job for the Cardinals.
Boy, that's I mean, what are the chances of that happening? That is so exciting. But once again, maybe it's karma. That's a good sign. He won a house. That's a good thing for all of us.
Yeah, especially in this economy. And he ought to thank Rashard Johnson for hustling down there and getting that final block. That was an excellent job by Johnson, wasn't it?
When you got players like that, think about Steve Breston's play back in the St. Louis game where he ran the guy down and split the ball. Yeah. Then you think about Rashard getting the extra effort to spring Larod for a touchdown. That, to me, is signs that you got some young guys that are starting to understand what you have to do. It's a great sign.
Good luck against San Diego.
Thank you.